Westchester Joint Water Agency to order our special board meeting at 1:11. Can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yep, Mary, can you please open the door, or Wesley? We have public comment, but we don't have anyone from the public unless you want to say anything. Presentations of the minutes. So minutes of March 23rd, 2023, I'm asking for a motion and a second to table those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that will be presented at our next regular board meeting. Next on the agenda is B, monthly financial report for February 2023, March 2023, and April 2023. I got this look on my face because we did February last month. Well, it's back on the agenda this month.
So April's won't be ready till May's meeting. We're always 1 month in arrears because I can't finish April's in the middle of
But
April.
we didn't get minutes, so that's why we tabled the minutes. And
Yeah.
so
well,
I can't
but
validate
last
that.
month I presented.
So I'm not here to
February.
go back and forth with you. What are you going to
Okay,
present?
so I'm going to present March 31st,
Okay.
2023.
So for the record, we're going to table February 2023 so that we can confirm that we did approve
Okay.
that. And then for March, you're going to report on
Right,
March.
and-
And then in April, you will report in May.
Right, so in the future, can we make the agenda present financial statements for whatever the month end is? Which would be, if we're in April, it'll always be March.
Well, if you recall, Kelly, we didn't have a board meeting at some point because we canceled one. And so these are makeup meetings. So when we
Right.
do that,
Yeah, I think the
Out of
one that
profession-
never got presented was January 31st, 2022. or
like I said, we don't
2023.
have the minutes for me to confirm
Yeah.
that. So let
Yeah.
me review the minutes or
But
look at the video
Yeah,
to confirm that. I'll do that, and then we'll be able to report moving forward. But typically, we've been on track with our reporting as it relates to the
Mm-hmm.
finance with the reports, but we had some hiccups the last couple of months as it relates to board meetings and
That's
stuff.
Yeah.
So if you could
So-
give us some updates, please.
so I'm going to present March 31st, 2023. So at the end of March 31st, we have $6.4 million in cash. 1.3 of it is the reserve for the transmission main, which means that about 5 million of it is unreserved cash, which we're planning on using for part of it for the construction project going forward. Operationally wise, through the end of March, we have a surplus of about $653,000. And that's primarily because of the fact that we were planning on some projects that didn't get done. Okay, so again, that $500,000 surplus, we've kind of had these last couple of years because projects have been delayed. We've been accumulating that wealth. So as of the end of March, we do have $653,000 in surplus. By the end of April, we're probably going to be somewhere around 750,000 because we will get a surplus again in April because there isn't anything big coming in April. All of our bond payments have been made, so we don't have any big payments coming out in the next month. So that's where we're at for March. We're in a strong, healthy position, and it hopes to roll over into next year.
Thank you. Any questions from the board for Kelly? No questions, thank you.
I do have my notes from the last meeting, and we did, there were no minutes for February 2023, meeting was canceled, monthly financial report, February 2023, tabled to next month, or February report to be delivered. That's what my notes show.
But I know I presented one, so that's why I'm like, anyway, I'll figure out what we didn't present, I will present. Because we wouldn't have presented January's, because January's would have been in February's. So I'll present January.
Like I said, I'll review the video because we stream,
Yeah.
And so that will confirm where we are with stuff. So I'm
Yeah.
not here to go back and forth with anybody
Yeah.
because we can validate that from a video. So thank you, Mike, for that. Next on the agenda is new business, the public hearing on an adoption for fiscal year 2023, or in fiscal year 2024 annual budget and appropriations. So I never had an opportunity to review the budget with the superintendent or with Mayor Stecker, so I'm gonna ask that we table this until we can have the conversation as it relates to our budget, and then we need to move forward with, you know, being in sync with one another on what that look like, on the needs that we need for the agency, and the ask that we would like to see as mayors as we, you know, chair this committee. So I'm asking Attorney Jerusik to draft an ordinance or resolution for us to be able to pass so that we're able to pay bills until we can approve the budget for the fiscal year.
Can I just make a comment?
Yes.
State law requires us to have our public hearing this month to get a budget approved before the start of the next fiscal year, May 1. So suggestion, if we could just have the public hearing, approve the budget as is, and go back and amend it in a month or two after, you do some more due diligence, just because we're supposed to comply with the state statute. We're not a taxing agency. It is more important for a village, a taxing agency, to definitely comply with the budget law, because what ends up happening is you can get tax objections to your budget and your tax levy if you don't.
But I'm not prepared to make that decision today,
Yeah, I mean,
because we didn't get the information in a timely manner to review.
can we just hold the public hearing to say we held the public hearing and check
Yeah, we
the
could do that.
box, and then we can come back and approve the.
I'm okay with that.
Tentatively approve it, so we quote and check the box and comply with the statute, but then we can refine.
I'm okay with the
budget.
public hearing, but I'm not okay approving a budget
Okay.
tentatively if I have not reviewed it.
Got it, understand. Then let's
I don't
just-
know the position of Westchester, that's the position for Broadview. If I have not reviewed the budget, I'm not in agreement to tentative approve anything. But for the matter of a public hearing, because we're not approving anything, I can hear anything.
Okay, then let's go through the motions and we can have the public hearing. We can actually just continue the public hearing for a month. Start it today, continue it next month when you have the full, budget in front of you, and we'll approve it, next month.
Okay,
That's
I'm
the
fine
best
with
we can
that.
do, given the circumstances.
Mayor Stecker, you okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. Trustee or village manager, you okay?
I'm good with it.
Yep. Ms. Jones, trustee senior, okay. So the public hearing for the fiscal year 2023, fiscal year 2024 annual budget and appropriations. Is that Kelly or the superintendent?
Who does it?
Okay. So the budget that has been prepared, to which our appropriation is based off of, has a projected revenue in it of $11,033,000. That $11,033,000 includes a $3 million note for the building of the water tank. That is 50% of the estimated cost of $6 million. This is $1 million more than originally was projected. It will also mean that $1 million more will have to come out of the reserves. Now, as I just reported out, we are going to have about $750,000 in surplus, so that would be the additional revenues, in which most of it would be covered by additional revenues we will have gotten in the 1 year that we've transpired, okay? The revenue increase only includes the increase for the city of Chicago. It does not include an increase to the member districts for anything other than the city of Chicago increase, okay? So we did not put any additional amount on top of it, okay? Expenditure-wise, revenues for the water is included the increase in relation to the city of Chicago's most recent increase. It includes personnel in relation to the superintendent, the part-time secretary, and 2 water operators. The building project is put in at $6 million. We also put in a bond payment of about $600,000 for the $3 million bond that was issued. Okay, I'm sorry, 300,000 for the bond that is projected to be issued, and includes our IEPA loan plus the amounts owed to Brookfield North Riverside. We are looking at a $6 million infrastructure improvement, that is the water tank project at the higher end that was proposed by the engineering firm at the last meeting. This budget has a surplus deficit of $3.43 million, which we knew about the $3.3 million that was going to be taking out for the construction project. This has an additional $430,000 deficit in there, primarily because of the fact that we were uncomfortable putting in a raise in the rates, as when we discussed this bond 2 years ago, it was on the understanding that we would not have to raise the rates to the member districts. So we did not raise the rates at this time, primarily because of the commitment that was made to you 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, somewhere in that timeline, when this water tank project was first discussed. We did not want to raise the water rates to the member districts. If we were to raise the rates, we would have to raise the rates probably 25 cents per thousand. I'm sorry, I don't know exactly the number off the top of my head. I thought it was 25 cents. I don't think it is. We would have to do a calculation to determine how much that 400,000 would be as far as in terms of dollars per 1,000 gallons. But that is where the budget is at as of right now, and we're willing to discuss it as you feel necessary.
Thank you, Kelly. Any questions from the board for Kelly for the budget?
You know what, this, for Wesley, are all the open positions budgeted for too? Or do we have any open positions that you're still trying to fill?
Only the water operator.
The one water operator, and that is in here?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I have a couple of questions. The public notification, when was it published?
You got that, Mike?
Oh, yeah, that was in the newspaper one, right?
Yeah, whatever you need.
That's the one thing I didn't print.
Oh, it was in the Village Free Press on
Village Free Press, yeah.
April 6th. So that was about a week ago. And so this is why I had the concerns, because first, when was the public notice notified? Both municipalities wasn't notified that this was out because we could have put it on our website for the public notice to let people know that we had this budget. And then we just got the budget not too long ago to review. I'm not saying I got it today, but I know it was in some attachments. So that's problematic for me. If I'm supposed to make a decision as it relates to the budget, at least the two mayors, out of professional courtesy, should have been aware of the conversation taking place so that we can have input, whether it's from the village manager or the village administrator for both municipalities. So that's problematic, that, you know, we have to be fiscal responsible, but then we get attachments in the email and not even have a dialogue when we should be able to give input on what this budget is. So just moving forward, let's just be mindful of that. I also will say this, I know Kelly have other clients that, you know, they got the same situation we got with audits and budgets and all of those things, but we're a client as well, and we expect to be treated like a client in timely manner. Whether you and the superintendent are having a dialogue, your obligation is to the agency. And so out of professional courtesy, it should have been brought to our attention that this was going to be a last-minute type of thing, or some dates should have been floating around, like when we can have these conversations. So that's just unacceptable from my perspective. And I don't like my back being put up against the wall when I have to make key decisions like the finances. You know, we have to be fiscal responsible in all of this work that we do. So it's not to point fingers or anything, it's just be mindful of the leadership, the weight that the two mayors have to carry, because at the end of the day, they're not gonna blame the superintendent, they're not gonna blame the village manager, they're not gonna blame the finance person, they're gonna blame the two leaders at the table, Mayor Secker and myself. And I stand on transparency, whether I'm in the village of Broadview or the Broadview Westchester Joint Water Agency, and having a relationship with my partner, the village of Westchester. And I just want to make sure that we can maintain that integrity, because we need to make sure that the public can trust us with the funding. That's how serious it is. We have to secure that. So the next step is, we've had the public hearing. Do anybody from the public have anything? No one's from the public is here, unless Greg want to say anything as it relates to this, or any board members, board of directors, anything you all would like to add or say anything? Mayor Stecker?
No, again, if we're not getting it in a timely fashion, then the public's not getting it in a timely fashion for review. So I think it's fair to the taxpayers that we have the items available for review. So if there are questions or concerns or anything like that, then this is the time we have to bring those up, not seeing it, just for the first time or getting it rushed.
So,
Can I just ask clarification, please?
sure.
Is my responsibility to send it to you and the superintendent, or is my responsibility to send it to the superintendent with the understanding that he's going to disseminate it to each of the member districts?
So from our perspective, if you're sending it to the superintendent, I would hope that he would send it to us. But on the other side is, you work for the agency. So the agency is not the superintendent. The agency is the board of directors.
So in the future.
So for a point of clarity,
Yeah.
send it to the board of directors.
Okay, that's fine. Because I just want you to know, this was sent to the superintendent on the 5th of April. The first draft was sent sometime the beginning of last month. We sent a second draft right before the last board meeting, and then we final up the numbers by the 5th of April.
And
So-
from our perspective, when you didn't hear any comments from two mayors or the board of directors, nothing prompted us to say that this had taken place. So again,
Okay.
you report to the board of directors, not the superintendent.
Okay, I'm just want to make sure that my lines of communication are drawn, because it's always been, we've gone through the superintendent disseminated it, made sure it was published. That's just how we've always done it, so,
And it was
I can-
published. It's just we didn't get it in a timely fashion,
that's fine. I apologize.
so. No worries. It's just we have to have these discussions, and we have to be transparent in the discussions that we have on the expectations. So everybody is held accountable, because I promise you, if I'm held to a different standard of accountability, everybody that sit on this board is held to the same
agree.
responsibility that I am.
I agree. I apologize. I'm just
So,
saying.
yeah. So just, just direct finances to us if the lines are being crossed with who doing what job and stuff. Okay. Number 2, considerate, so,
So are we continuing this then?
No,
How do we?
We'd have to make a motion to continue it, wouldn't we?
Right.
Yes, yeah, we don't have to take any action on the ordinance, just, I would just keep the public hearing open until the next meeting, motion to continue the public hearing until the May meeting, and then we will reconvene at that time. The budget, you'll have in advance, work through any budget issues, approve the budget final in May, then we'll get it filed with the county.
okay. So can someone make a motion to continue the public hearing until the board meeting in May?
I'll make
So-
the motion.
So moved. Second, actually.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next on the agenda, so now we need to close the public hearing, so I'll make a motion to close the
No need to
public.
close it.
Oh,
We
okay.
just-
Oh,
we
no,
just
because it's not,
continue.
it's
We're good.
continued.
Yep.
Thank you. So next on the agenda is consideration and approval of ordinance number 2023-01, an ordinance authorizing and approving for the fiscal year 23, fiscal year 2024 budget and appropriation for the Broadview Westchester Joint Water Agency, May 1st, 2023 through April 30th, 2024. I need a motion to table.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is consideration and approval of managed support agreement for 2023 to year 2024 with the concentration integration of Crystal Lake, Illinois, in the amount of $15,040. Superintendent, you want to tell us about this expense? projects.
So that would be the managed support agreement with concentric integration. They send us out a quote for the support for the year. So this would be like an annual thing, yes.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? No. Trustee? Village manager? Do you have any questions, sir? Ms. Jones? Trustee Senior? Okay, I don't have any questions or comments. Do you, Mayor?
No.
Okay, can we get, do we need a roll call vote for this?
Yeah, you're spending money.
Okay, we need a roll call vote?
A motion and a roll call.
A
I'll
motion?
make a motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
and now we need a roll call. Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Mayor Thompson, yes. Mayor Stecker?
Yes.
Trustee
Yes.
Caracco? And Tim
Manager Rosbach?
Rosbaugh?
Yes.
The Manager Rosbaugh. Okay, that motion carries. Thank you. Next on the agenda is consideration and approval of maintenance service agreement for a dehumidifier system for 2023 to year 2024 with Munters Corporation in an amount of $8,200. Superintendent, you want to tell us about this one too? Rosberg.
So this would be an annual service agreement with Munters. It is to service the dehumidifier to keep the piping inside the building dry. But this time, we're gonna have 2 service visits instead of just 1 service visit for the year. So they'll come out twice for their 1 year. That's what they added new in this agreement.
Any questions from the board for the superintendent for this? Okay, Manager Rosberg, any questions? Can I get a motion and a second to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Manager Rosberger?
Yes.
We voted?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Trustee Caracco?
Yes.
Mayor Stecker?
Yes.
Mayor Thompson, yes. Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Administrator Jones?
Yes.
Thank you. Old business. Status report on the expansion of the water agency capacity at 10th Avenue Pump Station site and the 1 million gallon water reservoir project financing from water revenue bonds and refunding of IEPA. I don't think we have any updates.
No updates at this time. It will just stay on your agenda until we get deeper into the year. As Treasurer indicated, your next budget does provide for funding for this project. So, when we get closer to the kickoff of the project, Treasurer and Engineer will give us all an update.
Okay, so, as we talk about the, water reservoir, I've been having conversation with Loyola because they're looking to do a $37 million project of infrastructure at the hospital. And, they are asking for support, so when I read the letter, I sent the email back to them and told them that they should include Westchester, because we all play a role in the Broadview Westchester Joint Water Agency, because the letter only identified the village of Broadview, Maywood, Melrose Park, and Berwyn. And because I sit on this agency board, that's an impact to us because we service their water system. So I don't know how they came up with the other communities as it relates to water infrastructure, but they want to do this major project on their campus and what that looks like, and that may be an impact to the Broadview Joint Westchester Water Agency. So I don't know if you got an email from her, but I did respond to her yesterday and told her that I highly recommend that Westchester be included in this conversation.
Thank you.
Okay, so before I sign off on anything, she got to make sure there was some adjustments that I asked for in the letter that she made, because they wanted to make investments in 3 communities but left out Broadview in Westchester. So she revised her letter, but then she also said that she would reach out to you so that Westchester is included in this conversation, because as it relates to the water infrastructure and then it's $37 million project that they want to do, and they asking the state for some money, you got to include the impact, which is Broadview Westchester Water Agency, because we supply the water to them. Okay, so just keep me in the loop on
And
if you
was,
get,
yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah,
we'll do.
okay. Next on the agenda is consideration and approval of the finance report, April 17th, 2023, and detailed report for the period March 2023 to April 23, in the amount of, is it $471,784.31?
784.31, yeah.
Okay, and the check numbers are 17029-17058? That's correct?
Could you
Okay.
repeat those? I'm taking minutes for Celeste. Could you repeat the dollar amount one more time? and
The,
the checks?
the dollar amount is $471,784.31,
Okay,
and the check numbers are 17029,
29,
yes,
okay,
through 17058.
58. Thank you very much.
Okay, I need a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
Manager Rosenberg, do you have any questions or comments?
No,
Trust-
I'd just like to see the stuff in advance next time. 'Cause
Okay,
I'm
that's,
not
that's fair.
receiving 'em. Yeah, I'm not receiving anything yet.
Okay, that's fair. Trustee Caraco?
No.
Mayor Stecker?
Nothing.
Mayor Thompson, no comments. Trustee Senior?
No.
Ms. Jones?
I agree with the village manager. We need to have it ahead of time.
Okay. So can we get a roll call vote to approve the bills? Manager Rosenberg?
Yes,
Rosenbach?
Rossbach.
Bach.
Rossbach.
The next meeting, I'm gonna have it down.
Yeah,
pat.
that's okay.
I gotta spend more time with you. Trustee Caraco?
Yes.
Mayor Stecker?
Yes.
Mayor Thompson, yes. Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Thank you. I apologize for messing up your name, too. Status report on the issuance of the RFP for the updated contractor list on call routine and emergency water system and repairs. Do we have any updates?
That's still being worked on.
Okay, so we need to keep that on the,
Yes.
okay. So we'll table that until the next meeting. And then the status report on the City of Chicago water rates as of June 1st, 2023.
Real quick, City of Chicago gave us notice in a February 28th, 2023 letter that CPI went up 5.16%. It's capped though, any annual increases from the city is capped at 105%. So they're imposing a 5% water rate increase on the agency effective June 1, 2023, which they have a right to under the water contract. And that equates to a 22-cent water increase. I provided documents that had a couple blank lines. I did include, after talking to staff, a 30-cent increase, which was being recommended to cover the contract customers and the charter customers. But we do need to have a conversation about, is there going to be some type of percentage passed through beyond the 22 cents? It sounds like, staff's recommending an 8-cent pass-through. And then we also need to determine, we have a thing called a water transmission line replacement maintenance fund. Are we going to increase our contributions to that? Right, in the last few years, you've contributed 35 cents to the charter, on behalf of the charter customers, and 38 cents per 1,000 gallons for the contract customers into that water line transmission fund. We haven't increased that 38 cent increase, that kind of allocation. Do you want to increase that since we're going with this new increase in the overall rate? So we got to talk rates, Kelly can,
Yep.
and Wes can talk about it, but I do have some blank lines in the ordinance that I need direction on after, determination is made.
So what I would ask the board is, can we schedule a committee meeting so that we can flesh this out on what that look like? For us in the village of Broadview, what we do is we have committee meetings as it relates, and Trustee Senior is the chairperson of our water, health, and drainage, so we have committee meetings when we have to make these key decisions that's gonna impact residents and our business stakeholders. And so I would recommend that we do the same for this board to be, because we have partners that have to pay these bills, and we need to be upfront with them on what that cost is gonna be. And you all have, on the Village of Westchester side, you have to figure out if it's gonna be a push through that you're gonna give back to your residents to keep up with the infrastructure on there. So it's definitely a conversation we have to have, and we can do that through committee and then figure out what that cost would be. I can't say what it would be for Westchester or Broadview at this point, but if we talk about it on the agency side, we can kind of project what our cost is. In Broadview, when we did our water rate increase, we put in a 5-year plan. And so now we're up to engage in that conversation with the residents on what that's gonna look like for us when we have to possibly increase the water rates for 2024 moving forward. So it's a conversation that I definitely think we should have through a committee and not at a board meeting. So can we just get some dates, send some dates to the superintendent, Manager Rosenbach, and Administrator Jones? Can you guys kind of coordinate a committee meeting for us to host and have the conversation? And then I know we get new leadership on Westchester side as well. So with the new mayor coming in office and stuff, I think we should include that person in the conversation since it's gonna fall under that person's watch. That's just my recommendation.
That's good news.
Okay.
Just a couple of comments. The committee will have to comply with the Open Meetings
Yep.
Act, so
Yeah.
make sure you guys
Yep.
do that on the back end, and then.
Unless me or the mayor don't attend.
Yeah, well, there is an executive committee, it's everybody but the 2 mayors, so if you need a that committee, you gotta comply with the Open Meetings Act. If it's just the managers that meet, you don't have to, because the numbers fall the right way. The other thing is, yeah, if we just do a motion to table this ordinance, we do have to approve this ordinance at the next meeting, because we have to implement the price increase in June 1, because that's when the city's price increase is gonna hit the agency.
So for a point of clarity, Attorney Jerusik, so what I heard you say is that with this increase that the city, based on the CPI, it was a 22-cent water increase.
Correct,
And
that's
then-
their water increase to the agency.
And then for us to pass through in this ordinance is the 8 cent that would pass through?
Well, staff had mentioned a 30% increase, a
30%.
30-cent increase, which is reflective of the 22-cent city rate pass-through and an extra 8 cents for operations and overhead administration, et cetera. So that number is just a recommendation. To stay even with the city, you gotta do at least a 22-cent increase. If you wanna add anything above that for your the water transmission replacement fund, and also to fund other, purchases, raises, purchasing equipment, anything else, any increases, that the agency has to deal with for its contracts with like Brookfield North Riverside, those projects, those are all things that, the committee and the board's gonna have to flesh out and put a number on it.
Okay, so I would like to table this ordinance until we have the committee meeting.
Sounds good. And you want dates in, like, the first week of May or something, or?
Well,
next
Manager
week?
Rosenbach and Administrator Jones could kind of flesh out the dates and stuff, and we have, but I think we need to run it through committee, because if we're looking at our budget and with this ties into our budget. That's, so, you have any anything you want to add, Mayor?
No, I know we accounted for the 5% in our current budget, but we didn't account for above that, so that would be a change.
Okay.
So, if we did, so.
Okay, so we'll table this until we have a committee meeting. And that should be coming through between the administrator and the manager. So whether I can attend or not, the meeting still need to happen.
Yes, understood.
And then not only that, when we do the committee meeting, can we make sure that we have our videographer that can stream it, so then that way if either mayor couldn't attend or not, we're able to watch the meeting.
We'll coordinate that.
Okay, I appreciate that, thank you. Next on the agenda is superintendent's report.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
As of March 31st, the water operator position had a total of 33 applicants that applied. I will provide an official update at the next board meeting. So far, out of the 33, only heard back from 2 other candidates, and I'm going to follow up with the other 31 this week to see if they're still interested. The restoration work at the 10th Avenue Pump Station has been completed. The internet adapter was delivered and installed for the VFD for Westchester Pump Number 3, so that is now back in normal operations. The Dorner Company we'll be scheduling the rebuild of the failed secondary incoming clay valve. All parts needed for that work for the work that need to be done are back in stock. They were out in August of last year to rebuild the main clay valve. And at the time, the parts were not available, but they're finally in now. So that will be taken care of. I'm currently working with Hancock Engineering on getting the quotes for the HVAC unit replacement and for the tuck pointing work that needs to be done at Kyler. And then I'll have updates forthcoming to the board. As of April 14th, the station pumped 83 million gallons of water and completed a total of 20 Julie locates along with daily maintenance. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mayor Secretary. You have any questions or comments?
No, not this time, thank you.
Trustee Caraco? No. Manager Rosenbach? No. Ms. Jones? Trustee Senior? Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
I don't believe we have closed session, so I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
So,
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
aye.
This meeting is adjourned.
You're welcome.